The boys are back in town. What is up, guys? If you missed us last night, we're here again.
Haven't been canceled yet.
Before I get started, Saw 5, Jesus Christ. If I find a date of when Spiral will be released, you will see Saw 5 immediately after that, provided it's not delayed again. But I'm just gun shy because I'll do it again and they'll delay the shit till fucking 2023. What is up? How are you doing this Friday night?
Hi, guys. I mean, it's been what, 17 hours since we last spoke?
Yeah, exactly. So the reason that we are here tonight is Promising Young Woman came out. For those of you that haven't seen it, it's a movie that premiered last year at Sundance and finally was released to VOD and maybe theaters.
Yeah, it's Amazon. Early release on Amazon.
Yeah, in like December. So I did not get a chance to watch it right away. I wasn't quite sure if it was my thing or not, but finally saw enough people talking about it. I watched it. I really enjoyed it. I did a standalone review for it. Some of you guys might have seen it. And there's a lot of big, very currently talked about topics that are prevalent in that movie, as well as some real very recent current events regarding this topic. So we're just going to kind of tiptoe around some landmines again. And we did pretty good last night. So we're going to test our fate again and talk about toxic masculinity and Me Too and, unheard victims and all of that stuff that's sure not to set off the comments whatsoever. We got a super chat right off the bat. You're fond of me, Lobster. Hey, Cody, off topic. Have you seen the new music video for avant-garde British rapper Slow Tie? The song is called Cancelled, and the whole video is horror movie references. I have not. I don't typically dive into British rap on my off days. That's not
dive into American rap.
Yeah, I don't typically dive into American rap either. So no, I've never even heard of that artist. But that's interesting. If you guys are into rap, I guess go check out the song Cancelled and catch some horror movie references. All right, so Promising Young Woman. I'm going to start with you, CP. So I'm the one that told you, like, you did the run, hide, fight thing for me. You said, go check this out. Let's talk about it. I did the Promising Young Woman thing for you. What did you know about it walking in? What were your expectations? And maybe a quick little blurb on overall how you felt about it.
I knew jack shit about it. Fuego from the horror show and in Fuegotainment, and whenever we're back, show business. He sang its praises a bit. He saw it a while back, and all I remember is the poster was lips and a woman laying upside down, and I was like, oh, this might be some sort of Basic Instinct kind of provocative young woman. I didn't expect much of anything, but I was just hoping for just don't give me Black Christmas 2019. That's basically all I was thinking.
It's a great counterpoint that we can talk about throughout this review too.
But yeah, finally watched it today on purpose. I watched it as close to showtime as possible so that I could help my brain get through the things. I don't know if you want me to talk about as far as perception, I had nothing to go on, so I wasn't expecting bad or good, but I was a little pissed in the beginning, but it was a proficiently made movie right up the bat. I wrote myself a note that the static cinematography, lots of symmetry. I really like it when you keep the camera still and shit looks like nice artwork. There's a lot of that in this movie, a lot of symmetry where things are presented on screen and math. I'm a fucking dweeb for math. Of course, the cinematographer is Ben Krakow. If I pronounced that
Is
name,
that a question or a statement?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with anything else that he's done, but credit to where it's due. And I didn't know what to expect. Are we going into the film because
It's like overall what you liked, what you didn't like. We don't have to get into like a full on review, but like overall, like maybe a 2-sentence wrap up of your thoughts, and then I'll jump into mine, and then we'll deep dive it.
All right. So to summarize, I was nervous in the beginning, and then there was a bunch of badass stuff that happened early on, and then it felt like it wanted to go somewhere, but it just had to fill time, and it really didn't know what it wanted to do. And then the third act really kind of went berserk.
In a good way or a bad way for you?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Yeah, I remember seeing the trailer last year at some point. I don't remember where I saw the trailer, if it was actually in the theater, 4 or 5 times I went, or maybe somewhere else. But I remember seeing the trailer and thinking, that looks interesting. And I remember thinking right off of the bat, my horror brain immediately went, oh, she's going to be cutting these dudes up. She's going to be torturing them. It's going to be more horror centric, like a black comedy horror or something like that. And that's really not what the movie is whatsoever. The movie opens up and gets you right into the whole plot of it, where she goes off and moonlights every single night in these clubs, acting like a really drunk girl, and sees, who's going to be the chivalrous person to try to get her home, and whether or not they're actually going to make sure she gets home safely, or they're going to try to take advantage of the situation. And
let me jump in real quick, because that's what I was getting at. First of all, the dialogue between the men at the bar is really very, very, anti-male. Just not anti-male, but whoever wrote it certainly wanted you to hate men. I'm not complaining. I'm not saying it's super woke or any of that shit. I'm not making a complaint. It's just men don't look good. Drunk men in a bar don't look good, and they're talking about taking advantage of this visibly drunk woman, and you're under the impression that there's the nice guy of the group who's going to help her out and take her home, but he gives her another drink when she gets
and
to his
pours
house.
a tall fucking drink for her. Like, he's got a sip, and he pours her like half a liter.
Yeah, and then he starts helping himself to her, and they do this beautiful shot from the ceiling, and you see her, and she's out of it, and then her, you could just see
right in our eyes.
Yeah. She looks right to camera, and you're like, oh, she's fucking sober, and that's why I thought, oh, she's gonna be just fucking murking a bunch of sexual predators. So that's where I like. Go ahead. You could.
My brain was exactly the same way, and I'll be honest with you. When I figured out by a certain point of the movie that it wasn't going to be going that direction, it was going to be going a lot more conservatory or conservative with what she's doing. She's really just scaring the fuck out of them.
Yep.
Waking up. What are you doing? What are you doing? You fuck. I'm awake. Like, what's going on? And just, I'm sorry. I'm a good guy. And
Christopher Mintz-Plasse looks fucking, oh my God, so funny. I have too much drugs in my system. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, do you still want to fuck me? No, ma'am. No, please. She's like, I never do. So basically you have this plot where she's turning the tables on all of these potential or recurring sexual predators, guys that are going to take advantage of the situation. And along with that, she kind of begins to find love herself, this one shining hope of, oh, maybe there is a good guy out there. And the whole movie kind of hints, it's not a huge mystery, but they hint at what actually happened that set her on this path. Why did she drop out of med school? What is this grudge that she has? What is this traumatic event that she keeps kind of, trying to give justice to? And by the time the movie gets around to that, I felt like that for the most part I had it figured out, but it was still a good piece of the story. And by the end of it, when you talk about the third act, we'll get into spoilers here in a little bit for everybody that, I don't want to spoil anything just yet in case we're selling you on the movie. I do encourage you to watch it.
Yeah.
when you get to the third act, some very bold decisions are made story wise.
Yes.
And when I first saw it, I was like, that might have ruined it for me. I don't know. I don't know if I like that. I'm not digging that as a conclusion to this story. But very few movies stick with me. And the whole next day at work, I was thinking about the movie, and I was listening to interviews with the director and Carey Mulligan, and I was listening to a couple of other people's reviews that got to see it back at Sundance, just to try to see what the thoughts were on it before it was released. And you know, sometimes you get that groupthink shit going where if one person says it's a masterpiece, all of a sudden everybody just says the same shit and you never really know what their original thoughts were.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Never seen that. So I started to listen to some of those, and all day long I'm like, I think I like that. I think I like the way that they wrapped up with that. It's not on paper. If you had asked me, like, if you just pause the movie and say, where do you want things to go? It would not have been what they did.
Yeah.
But
you're talking about a pillow?
Yes, everything third act, everything from the point that the Britney Spears remix comes.
That was a badass version of that song.
It was. It set the tone. It was a great score. So from that point on, my first reaction was, oh, I don't know about that. I know what you're doing, but I don't think it works for me. And as it stuck with me, I don't think any other ending would have stuck with me the same way. If it had ended the clean, neat, or bloody way that I expected it to, I think I would have been like, oh, that was pretty cool. And then I would have walked away from it. It would have been another film that, you know, I watch and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll do a review, maybe not. But something about the way that it ended just made me think about it a lot more, and made it stick with me a lot more. And by the end, I found that it was one of those movies that has a message. It has a very clear message. It has, you know, if you even want to call it an agenda, it has an agenda. But as you brought up the counterpoint of Black Christmas 2019, you have a movie like Black Christmas 2019 that's just fucking sledgehammering you over the face with this statement from the opening frame to the end, and never takes a second, never takes a breath to actually like get a dialogue going, get a question brewing in the viewer's head, try to convey something through what's going on screen. They're just like, hey, men suck the whole movie. Yeah. And you watch a movie like this, and to me, it's the polar opposite. They tell you some of these things are really bad, but at the same time, they offer you hope. You get a character like Alfred Molina's character that feels very, you know, horrible about what happened and wants redemption and wants to be the author of his own redemption. And by the end of the movie, when things go a certain way, it makes you feel a little bit uncertain about how you feel about not only about the message, but their character, her whole mission, whether or not she should have went all the way and all that. And it's a movie that makes the viewer ask questions and have conversations like the one that we're about to have. And I love movies like that. Sometimes the message gets in front of the story. I feel like they found a perfect balance with this one. Yeah,
it's a little nihilistic. I've been taking in a lot of international movies. Korean cinema, French cinema more than Korean. They'll give you movies where the ending is not, you know, the guy and the girl get together and live happily ever after. French movies, the lead gets shot and the movie's over. It's just like, fuck, what the fuck?
Yep. Fuck you, go cry. See you next time.
Finn.
Yeah.
But I got a little bit of a Departed vibe I got from this. If you pick up what I'm putting down, but the difference between international cinema and American cinema is they're not afraid to give you a non-happy ending. You know, not all stories end, you know, with the guy getting the girl, everybody saves the day.
Breaking the wall and winking into the camera right before credits. Yeah.
So I've been really kind of turned on to that. Perhaps in the aftermath of year 2020, this may not be the movie that, you know, you want to relax and forget about what's going on. It may not be that, but another piece of the movie that feels really, really current. I'm just skating your politics, please. I'm trying to just reference something.
Well,
for this,
we ran a freight truck through it last night. There's plenty of room to skate. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to reference it to give you an idea. It it has something to say about what happens to staying quiet. When
Yes.
you stay quiet and something happens, you're saving your own ass, whatever, but there's consequences to, covering your ass. There's consequences to, if something's wrong and you
And
just
that's another piece of the movie that I really liked too, because like you said, I mean, again, using the counterpoint of Black Christmas 2019, and again, I said this in my review of Black Christmas 2019. You guys can go fact check me if there's a hater in here. If there's a certain type of movie that is just 100% men suck, men are evil, fuck men the whole time, that I would probably get a kick out of if you did it in the right way. If there was enough self-aware humor, if it was something, there's a version of that movie that would work, and I would just laugh the whole time and be like, yep. But Black Christmas was not that. When you get to this movie, yes, there's very much from what they're showing you a bit of, okay, men are pigs for the whole time. But then when you get to scenes like Connie Britton, when one of the main people she's going after is a woman that knew the situation and just took like a fuck it, boys will be boys approach.
Mm-hmm.
And she flips the script on her in a very creative way of just putting all of that fear right into her and like, oh, now you take it serious, bitch.
Yeah.
Like that to me was a really great part of the movie that kept that balance. It wasn't like she was just going from guy to guy to guy to guy to guy until the credits. And we never really got to see any kind of balance there. So I thought it was smart the way that they did that. Even Alison Brie's character to a degree.
Alison Brie, for the first time ever, I'm kind of happy. I fucking disliked Alison Brie, and I mean, it's intended, but she played a good bit of a jerk, if you will. She's definitely late second act, her stuff. But to what we've been talking about all these years is the message. The message doesn't matter. Just give us the story first. You can make a movie that says Charles Patterson is a complete fucker, and if it's good, I'll enjoy it. I'll tell you to watch it. And I'll buy a copy and sign it for you. Just tell a good story. It does not matter what the message is. The story is the important part. And if you can get a message in, then great. But this movie, yeah, it does a couple of things. It does a couple of things well. The only I get these are like movie nitpicks. The thing I kind of figured out one of the things early, but and I have a question about Nina. That's basically it. And I don't know if I missed it or didn't pay attention, but
well, we can start getting into spoilers at some point, and we can bounce questions off of each other. But go ahead.
So she has this picture of her and her friend, her sister, Nina. Did I miss whether or not she's dead?
Yes, you missed it. She's dead.
She's dead. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So that clears a little bit up, because she would speak about her at times like she was somewhere else. And so,
well, that was part of the mystery of sorts throughout the movie of what exactly happened. But at some point, yeah, she does she doesn't say directly, but in an indirect way, she basically says that she eventually took her own life because of the event.
So that's what I the occurrence didn't kill her. Her misery.
Yes.
From the okay. All right.
Yeah. Not being believed and all that other stuff.
Okay. Like notes I have, I mentioned it, the brilliant shot of her looking up to camera. The coffee shop scenes, they felt as a comedian, it felt like they were punched up. They put a little too much, laughy laugh in there. there's a couple of things. The coffee shop scenes just feel like, all right, here's where we'll put the comedy. Like there's a lot of,
I can understand that. Yeah.
It's just strange. It's
That's where
not.
Bo Burnham's shtick is
Yeah,
kind of turned up quite a bit, and
yeah.
then you got
I'm assuming they let him loose a little bit, and
mhm.
for those of you who don't know, punch up is a term. Scripts, they'll send scripts to comedic writers and say something like, all right, there's a bit of a dead period here. Can you make one of these lines good, or can you find a way to put a joke in somewhere? I actually am not allowed to talk about it, but I did punch up for one television show way back when. And
Seth
that,
Rogen did punch ups for Bad Boys too.
yeah, and Carrie Fisher infamously, she did punch up and she did script doctoring. So it just felt like it that part was somebody else in the coffee shops. Maybe it was just Bo Burnham. You know, they gave him a little rope to run with. There's this scene where she's in the restaurant with Alison Brie, and again, kudos to the cinematographer. The ceiling had all these interesting like blue circles on it, but above our lead character's name, who I don't know her name because I fucking don't write that shit down.
Cassie.
The circle that was over her head was red, and it was, you know, halos and things of that nature are a theme in this movie, and you know, she does something a little nefarious in that moment, and it's my full credit, Ian Fisher, my favorite teacher from film school. If you can watch a movie and not have the sound on and get an idea of what's going on, they're doing a fantastic job of getting their story across. And with that shot, you knew she was up to no good because, you know, there's this red halo. It's subtle, but it you know, if you were in a restaurant, you'd say, why the fuck is that circle red? What, like, you know, that's movie making. It's not real life shit. But it was very interesting. My problem with Sandra, there was one point where she was pulled over on the road, and it felt like she was just baiting. And there's a truck that pulls up next to her, calling her a whole bunch of shit. That to me felt like it was off. That wasn't part of her. That wasn't, if she was Dexter, that wasn't part of her code.
Didn't she just have something fucked up right before that scene happened, though? I can't remember if that was when.
So she was just parked in the middle of the street?
I feel like there was something right before that scene that had her all mentally fucked up. And then she was just kind of in a daze. And then whenever she heard the guy and he's like, move it, bitch, skank, or whatever he said. And she's like, okay. And then she just let a little rage out.
He dropped a C-bomb on her.
Okay. Yeah. So I think I would have to watch the movie again, but I want to say there was something about her mental state right before that scene to where she was just, that was her moment of rage. That was her Dexter scene where he just fucking took that dude out in the bathroom and was like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's that moment where I felt like, all right, I'm not with you here. I can understand. Again, to compare it to Dexter. Dexter had a code. You know, bad people. I'm going to kill bad people. This in one moment, you're in the middle of the street, guys trying to, you know, what the fuck are you doing in the middle of the street? You're not drunk in a nightclub. This guy just happens to be road raging. This isn't part of your MO. Why get involved? Just say, hey, sorry, but you might be right. There might have been something going on beforehand, but it's still, it felt like baiting to me. I think that I have it written here that unbelievable by Roman numeral 3 that she hadn't been physically attacked, because the things she was doing, like she was, I don't know, blackmailing people. I don't know what you'd call it, but you know, at some point when you're like, trying to pretend and men are, especially considering, well, I guess they do pay it off in the third act. You know, guys are a little bit overpowering, stereotypical guys who pick up girls to do terrible things to at a bar. You would imagine that maybe some physicality would get involved, and I found that kind of shocking. And we got quite the opposite. Christopher Mintz-Plasse is could not be a bigger bitch. It was kind of interesting.
Well, I am curious too, and again, I'd have to go back to the movie to rewatch it. But I remember thinking in the opening of the movie when she's doing her little check, her little tally mark in her notebook, some of them are red. I don't think there was like a specific color pattern to them, but a lot of them were black and some of them were red. So I'm curious if maybe the red ones was maybe somebody that she did kill or somebody that got violent or something. It seemed like a weird detail when I first saw it, and the movie has a very kind of pop color palette to it, like with her hair, and it's definitely candy coated. But I would have to go back and remember. I remember that being a question I had throughout the movie was, I wonder if they're just not showing the ones that went bad. Because if
you gotta like her, you have to be
exactly, and you want the third act to be like, oh, now she's really going to go for it. But if she had, if she cut up fucking McLovin 20 minutes ago, it's like, okay, we know what's going to happen. So I think that might be a question that maybe the directors answered somewhere, but I did have that as a curiosity.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say without spoiling anything, is she brings home a date, first dinner at her parents' house, and the mom,
Stifler's mom,
Stifler's mom, she asks the doctor if children have different parts, and I didn't understand if she was being serious or
I think they were joking about being a pediatrician. It's like, why do kids have their own specific doctors? Like, why do you want to just do kids so they have different parts? If I remember correctly, it was something like that.
Okay, because I heard the line and I'm like, they're just smaller humans. What the fuck do you mean different parts? If it's a joke, all right, the comedian missed it. I wrote another note that there's a lot of psychological warfare in service to what, but the third act, you get what the service is. So that note is void.
Exactly.
But
well, go ahead.
I'd give it a soft 3.5.
Okay, cool.
A hard 3.
A hard 3, soft 3.5. So 3.25.
3.4. It's terrible.
Exactly. Worst shit ever. All right. So here's your warning, guys. We're going to start talking specifics and talking some spoilers. If you're not interested in the film, obviously you got nothing to worry about. But if you are interested and have not seen it, I do encourage you to go check out the movie. Maybe pop back in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and we'll be on our next topic or the other section of this topic.
Do you have a screen that you can kind of show people, like an image that to let people know that
all right, yeah, so I will drop this image for a good 10-15 seconds when we are done talking about Promising Young Woman. So if you just want to mute the video, that'll help you as well.
Yeah, a good signal. So.
Exactly. So really the main two things to talk about is the revelation on the tape and the third act. The movie is structured in a pretty cool way where it starts being just specifically her going out to the clubs, and then it starts to give you these little Roman numeral chapters where she's going after specific people that were tied to this event. And you find out at some point in the movie that her best friend of her entire life, Nina, who was in the same med school as her, was sexually assaulted. There was a bunch of people there. It was like a group thing, I guess. Maybe I think it was one guy actually doing it, but there's a lot of people that saw it. She was just drunk at a party getting railed in the corner of a couch, I guess. And so she goes through and she starts taking people out. She takes out the girl that was in med school with her that backed up the guy's story. Then she goes after the dean that didn't continue with the investigation, which was Connie Britton. Then she goes after the defense attorney, Alfred Molina, who was the one guy in the movie that is like, I know reckoning is coming for me, and I want to change things. And they don't get specific about what her plan was with him, but there was a guy out in the back ready to do something. So she comes out, she says she forgives him. She leaves. There's a guy. Do I go in now? She goes, no. So I don't know if he was going to girl with the dragon tattoo, Alfred Molina, or what was going on. But so you have that. And then it comes to a point where she believes in her relationship with Bo Burnham to a point where she's ready to give up this mission of hers. She's ready to toss everything away. So she throws out her notebook and, gets rid of her little stalker account and other shit like that, and just dives headfirst into this relationship. After talking with Molly Shannon, oddly enough, finding out from her, like, hey, you need to let this go. You're not to blame. Just let it rest. And then you get to a point in the movie where Alison Brie shows up at her house and is just distraught. She's been trying to call her the whole movie because, like you said, the restaurant scene, she gets her absolutely destroyed drunk, and then has somebody that she paid like basically wake up in the hotel with her, and then she's freaking out the rest of the movie, wondering what happened.
Like that she
exactly
either got roofied or fucked around.
Yeah, whatever. One of the other. Yeah, exactly. So she finally comes and she takes pity on her. She's like, look, nothing happened. I was just fucking with you. Now you understand how it feels. Checkmate, bitch, basically. And then she goes, okay, well, look, I don't know how we could have done this, owning up to what she had did, basically. I don't know how we could have looked at this as a joke. I feel terrible about it. I found this cell phone. It's got a video on it. And what I love in the scene is they never show the video. They just show her reaction to it the whole time. Yeah. And I know that you'd said that you had pretty much suspected that this was going to happen at some point. It caught me really off guard.
Really?
Yeah, okay. It did. I was watching, and for some reason, I just believed in him enough because there was enough hints, like the first date where he's like, hey, you want to go upstairs? I fucked it up, didn't I? Like, I thought he was going to be the counterpoint in the story of, hey, there are good guys out there. There are guys that can see that, hey, let's go upstairs. Oh, shit. Yeah, I don't want to be that guy. And so I just like her, I had faith in him. I was like, okay, he's going to be the diamond in the rough. And then you're listening to this sexual assault and everybody's cheering the guy on, and fucking Bo Burnham's voice comes across and he's like, hey, what are you guys doing? And I was like, oh shit. And it literally, like, I kind of sunk down in my bed. I was like, oh fuck. I feel like I just got cheated on.
Yeah. So the reason that, like, in the coffee shop, I felt it. The problem with her relationships with men in this movie is with the exception of her father, and even that's a little flawed. Every time she's speaking to a man or experiencing something with a man, it's terrible. She doesn't trust men, this, that, the other thing. Suddenly, Bo Burnham is different, but then he mentions, I think it's pretty early that he mentions that they went to med school together.
Well, yeah, it's the first.
This fucking guy is going to be bad news.
He's the one that tells her that the main guy, the target, if you will, is getting married, and that kind of sets her off with this Roman numeral plan.
Yeah, but I knew the second that he once they started dating and she trusted him, and like. First of all, there was no chance this movie was just going to shift into a romantic comedy. So something
it did for a good 10 minutes there, dancing to Paris Hilton and shit.
Going to the pharmacy every day. What the fuck was that about? but yeah, that I was waiting for that. Like, I think that's what, like, that was what felt like it was stretching for me. It was like, all right, just get there. But when they get there and like she's kind of Kill Billing it, she's just taking care, like with the Roman numerals, she's anybody who's involved is getting theirs. But for what, 5? Is it 5 or 4? That is the bachelor.
4, I think, maybe,
because I think 5's the important one.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that point of the movie, I had a big gut punch. That really worked for me. I felt like it could have been written on the wall, but for some reason, I just thought I had faith that it wasn't going to go that way. And when it did, I was like, oh shit. And I felt the same way that she did in the scene to a certain extent. And from then on, it's like all bets are off.
In that scene, when Alison Brie says, "And don't ever fucking call me again," cunt, Go fuck yourself. You had this phone this whole time. You had an accessory to murder. Well, not murder, but sexual assault, and you just had it, and you had nothing to say. Go fuck yourself. How about you enjoy jail? Yep. Don't ever call me again. The nerve.
I'm queuing up the live stream tonight, bitch. Yeah. Oh man. So yes, we get to that, and then from then it's pretty much, she totally decimates Bo Burnham. I wasn't sure how that scene was going to go either, if he was going to apologize, if he was going to go straight up dickhead, but you really see him like kind of cower down, like, holy shit, like what is this chick doing? She's on some next level shit. And then you get to the third act where she's getting literally dolled up. She's going to this bachelor party where all of the guys that were part of this are there. The guy that was actually doing the deed is there, the groom, the bachelor, and I was ready for some carnage. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe this is where they're going to let loose on the carnage candy. Who knows? But she takes out every single person except for him. And I love the way that their little back and forth mental game goes upstairs once he's handcuffed, where she just mentions the chick's name and he's like, what's up? Did he put that up? He put you up to this? Let me out.
She doesn't take him out. She knocks them out. She
them.
They're all asleep downstairs.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe, you said take it out. I didn't want people to. Well, if you're watching this, you know. Yeah.
Now let's go upstairs.
Yeah.
So so you have that, and this is where the movie takes a gigantic turn. So you assume, like, she starts pulling out the knife, and my mind's immediately going to girl with the dragon tattoo. She's going to put Nina all over his body or something like that. And he gets one hand free and just fucking takes her down and smothers her with a pillow. And what was so hard to watch about this scene was how long they draw it out. It's not like a quick little smothered thing. And the director even said that it's so long because she was asking medical professionals, like, how long would it take to smother somebody? And they're like, I don't know, 2.5, 3 minutes. And so she made the scene the entire length that it would be in real life. And like, she still has some strength in her arm, and he holds it back down and he's telling her to stop. And it's just, you're like, you're waiting for like her to get a hand free, or you're waiting for something.
What was confusing was, like, first of all, he was like kind of cowering a bit. And there was like 2 or 3 times where he was saying, just stop moving. Like, I thought he just like wanted her to calm down, and then he'd take the pillow off, because he said it a couple of times, just stop moving. And I was like, all right, he's, he just wants her to relax, and he wants to regain control of the situation. And nope.
Nope.
He really wants to control the situation.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a shocking direction to take that I kept thinking that something like she was actually not dead. She was just going to wake up again or something. I kept waiting for the aha moment, or something, and then
when
it goes all the way
off, she's like, ah,
or something, and then it goes all the way to the point where where him and his best friend are burning her body in a fire. And I'm like, holy fuck, she's actually dead.
Yeah. That's where I was like, good for this movie. Good for you going full fuck you.
The director wanted to end the movie there. She wanted to end the movie with the hand being pushed back into the fire, and that was all you get. And studios were like, no, we need something. We need a little light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, the necklace touch. I think that was the closest thing to a cute little.
Exactly.
Here's so you get sweet.
You get that, and everything kind of quietly goes on. The parents are looking for her, filing charges. Bo Burnham gets questioned, and he has another moment to spill the beans, and he takes the shitty route and is like, nope, I don't know, she might have done something to herself. You get to the wedding.
We broke up Thursday. When did you go missing? Friday.
Yeah. I know what you're thinking. You get to the wedding, and some text messages start coming in. You didn't think it was going to end like that, did you? And I was like, good for her. Hell yeah. Now we're going to get something. And some of the details of it are kept vague on purpose, because you could probably start poking holes into it. But essentially, she sends this tape to Alfred Molina, who wanted to redeem himself. He redeems himself by giving the investigators everything that they need to go and arrest the main two guys for her murder. And now it doesn't matter whether or not they ever get pinned for the rape. Now their life's done.
Yeah, that's where I got the Departed vibe. The sending the tape, even though you're dead. Like that happens. Sorry to spoil The Departed for you guys, but you know, sending the damning footage to people that can make a difference after the fact, like that was badass. You know, you might have gotten me, but the one thing you were avoiding, you're not going to avoid it this time. You're going to pay.
Yeah, and I like the final note where she puts "love Cassie and Nina," like they were just together the whole time, and it was just a cool little note to end on. You know, just call me Angel. So yeah, that from the pillow scene forward, that's where the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, I don't. You're going for that, okay?
And it swung in the positive direction for me there. I like it when a movie, because like I said, I kind of was waiting for the reveal,
and then drop,
and you know, if they had been vanilla about it, she, you know, cuts his dick off or gets revenge or you know, ruins the wedding or, you know, something like that. But no, her plan falls apart a bit, but her backup plan, you know, when she's dead, when she's like dead on the bed and the guy's like, she's fucking dead. I'm like, fucking yes, let's go. What else do you got for me?
You have the two responses to this movie. Where the fuck are my fingers going? The two responses you have, oh, I don't know about this, and fuck yeah, she's dead. Like,
I mean, fuck yeah, she's dead. I meant, all right, what you got?
The movie's balls just dropped. Hell yeah.
Where are we going now?
Exactly, and that's where, you know, a movie that bold. That's what made it stick with me, honestly. Like I was all for it. I was on board. A part of me was like, I don't know. I kind of think I would have preferred a little more slasher element in this, but I like what they're doing. And then you get to the third act, and like you said, if it was just vanilla, if it was okay, she, you know, castrates him, or you know, she lets him go to his wedding. She goes to jail, but now he's got the bitch's name all over him and stuff like that. It, like whatever it is, it wouldn't have had an impact. It would have been like, okay, cool, promising young woman, I'd recommend go watch it. But by the time you get through her dying and the image of them just scooting her hand into the fire with her nails, like it's so dark where I was just like, oh, fuck. And the more I thought about it, it was just like, okay, she really went balls out. She's like, fuck it, I'm going down, or I'm taking them down. I don't think that was her plan A.
Or both,
yeah, I don't think that was her plan A. If she just got to kind of cut him up or whatever, maybe, I don't know what the full plan was going to be. But if I get taken down, we're all going down, bitches. I thought it was pretty wild. So I walked away really enjoying it for all that.
I see. You got to get more comfortable with it, and when you are more comfortable with foreign stuff, I have at least 3 or 4 Korean films that, if you enjoyed this, that have a very similar thing that they do, and they go very far. And you know, there's no happy ending, but it's fucking real. That's what I've been watching a lot the last year, and that's why I was like, thank God America's figured out how to do this shit. Holy shit, I fucking don't have to read now.
Oh man, yeah. So as far as like the main topics of the movie, like toxic masculinity and, you know, a little bit of Me Too in there, and people not believing the victims or shaming the victims and stuff like that, like, is there anything, obviously I don't think you've ever been in this situation, but have you ever been a secondhand third party to anything where you've seen behavior like that in the bar, or people saying things it's like, you did what, or like any firsthand experience to any of the stuff that they're talking about?
actually not sexual assault, but assault. Um, when I was younger, I called family members for assistance, and you'd be surprised
Hmm.
how little there's a lot of reasons why I don't mind asking people for help.
Hmm.
It's because something that I happened to me when I was very young. It just proved to me that, even if you ask for help, sometimes it just doesn't matter. Um, Somebody very close to me was getting uh, assaulted, and I needed help because I was 12 years old,
Hmm.
and I called family members for help, and they got talked out of it. That the patriarchy. Uh, it is there is a problem. There is a problem that this movie should have been released maybe 15, 20 years ago with the messaging. There is a problem with, taking people at their word, men, uh, and women who are afraid of men, who are afraid of telling people, yeah, blink twice if if this guy's telling the truth. People, they seal up because they're worried about getting hurt further, or
Hmm.
what else can happen. He did this to me without me, with me being quiet. What could he do to me if I talk? So yeah, it, it I don't know. What was your question again?
Well, they're talking about toxic masculinity. They're talking about, the Me Too stuff and victim silencing or not believing them and stuff like that. I was just curious if you had any stories that went along with that you've known. Like, I don't have any uh sexual assault stories or anything like that. Nothing that
Yeah,
directly ties
no,
into this movie. I've absolutely been at parties where chicks are falling over themselves, and there's a lot of people that's like, damn, somebody needs to get her home. And there's always one or two that are like,
yeah,
and
no,
it never seems that real when you're there and you're taking drinks and everybody's there to have fun and stuff. But I would be curious of all the times that I've seen um, girls falling over themselves or something like that, whether I was at a bar or at a party or whatever, how many of those stories had good endings. And it's
well,
it's it's kind of a scary thing for somebody that it's a father of two daughters, and obviously I
right,
have a wife
right,
and I have sisters. And when you think about how easy, I mean, there's nothing violent really in this movie until the final 10-15 minutes. It's not like it's not Last House on the Left. It's not Spit on Your Grave. But when you think about how easy and real it is for just a girl to be drinking a little too much in a bar
yeah,
and wake up next to somebody going, "What the fuck happened?"
mhm,
How many times that happens where either you feel like you were assaulted and nobody says anything, or maybe you were assaulted, but you just chalk it up to, hey, maybe I just had a good time. I'll chalk this off the little walk of shame list and go home. Um, there was a story. I don't remember how recent it was, but I remember hearing about it. And I think even on the Joe Rogan podcast, he was talking about it a little bit, where there was a university where, and this brings up the other side of things too. There was a university where, a guy and a girl were drunk at a party, whatever, went off with each other, had sex, woke up in the morning, did their, walk of shame. And the next day or over the next week or whatever, the girl's friends convinced her that because you're drunk, that was sexual assault. He took advantage of you. And then she filed charges. She got the kid kicked out of school and a whole bunch of stuff. And the guy turned it around and sued the university. He said, okay, well, if you're kicking me out because if she was drunk, that means it was sexual assault. Well, I was drunk too, so I was sexually assaulted too.
mhm,
And so there's a lot of weird stories out there that you see where and that's the dangerous part. You're like, I don't know. That's the big problem with the Me Too thing. And when it came out, especially where it just seemed like all these stories were coming out and you wanted to believe them. But at the same time, it's like, how many of these are real? How many of these are, I'm just going to ride the wave and say this? How many might be misunderstandings? It's a really crazy situation that probably touches a lot more people that we know that we would never know about.
Sure. Well, the CP character, you
Mhm.
know, calls his wife a cunt, and you know, is this
It's a term of
terrible?
endearment.
Yeah, I say a bunch of terrible things and everything like that. But you can ask any female that has ever spoken to me. I'm quite the opposite. Charles in real life, because I was raised by a single mother, and you know, she was in her 20s, and she was, you know, dating, and I had seen some despicable things happen. So I kind of was raised to hate certain things about men, and it's not like I you know, ended up being gay or anything like that. I was just more aware of women's vulnerabilities and how men exploit and there's just certain things that men do that, like, we can be better than that. And it's why I like.
I'm the same way. I wasn't raised to be that way. I think a lot of it comes from me. I was a lot quieter growing up in high school,
Mhm.
especially. I kind of found my personality a little bit later in life. I always had it at home, but I was always a little bit more timid in social interactions and stuff like that. And I've kind of forced myself to bust through those shelves in my 20s.
Yeah.
But I've always hated being around like the alpha males
Yeah.
and like the guys that puff their chests and fucking oil up their arms before they go out and say like the way that they talk to or about women is just like, yeah, every chick in here wants my dick right now,
Yeah.
like stuff like that. I can't stand being around it. I've even been
Yeah.
friends with people like that, and I'm the guy ribbing them because I'm like, all right, Mr. fucking GQ, like I'm
The
the same way to where it bugs me. You know, we've all
Right.
said little crass jokes and
Sure.
stuff like that, but
I was just
yeah.
gonna say, as a straight male, you know, I'm not perfect. You know, I have my moments of objectification, but
Mhm.
it's
I have a
never.
lot, but I
Yeah.
wear it on my sleeve and I make my wife laugh about it at
Right.
home, and
Right.
she's the
Exactly.
subject of that objectivity
Exactly.
99.9% of the time. So
Exactly. But you know, when I mean, I've made videos about it where people will say shit like, "God, you have nice tits," as a comment on a movie review, and it's like, the fuck are you doing? Like,
yeah.
what are you expecting from a female by saying that? Like, uh, the
It
way.
makes me, ever since your videos too, I've noticed it a lot more, and it does make me uncomfortable. Like, hopefully, she won't mind us bringing this up. But like our good friend Mother Mayhem, I saw some tweets
Yeah,
yesterday
she
where
gave me permission to do another one, actually. So
we were
go
talking
ahead.
about Dexter because somebody was tagging me on Twitter or something asking about Dexter, and I had said something about I was like, we're waiting on Mother Mayhem because of her camera issues. And later on, it might have been part of the same thread, or later on, I basically saw somebody that tweeted at her. It was like, go ahead and keep making your content gorgeous or something like that. And I'm
Yeah,
like, why do you gotta tack that little bit on the end there?
yeah.
Like, it's not she
It's a
especially,
compliment. What's the
yeah.
problem?
But nobody's like, all right, Cody, when's your Saw 5, handsome?
Yeah,
Like it's never it's not a part of the statement. It's just like this extra little seasoning that you throw on there to like, there's a 0.9999%
mm,
chance that she's actually gonna read this and give a fuck, but fuck it. You
yeah,
know, it's just it's weird.
yeah.
It's weird. And a lot of times the comments have nothing to do with the actual content itself or what she's talking about or what the subject
Of
of the
course,
video is.
of course.
It's just ooh, pretty person. And
Yeah.
it's like,
I mean, if she were doing, and she does, she has done makeup tutorials. A comment like, "You look great." That kind of that's an environment where it fits. You know,
yeah.
look at the great job I did. You know, making myself look good. But you know, when she's talking about Saw 3, and you know, you're talking about the way she looks, it's like, dude, she talked for 20 minutes about a movie.
Mhm.
What did you pick up from this, or did you just watch it on mute and blast yourself to it? Because
Yeah, it's the equivalent to when I do like a 25 minutes, you know, like this movie, I'll do a 20-minute review on Promising Young Woman and talk about the spoilers and the themes and the messages and go in depth and the cinematography. And someone's like, hey, when Saw 5? It's like, what the fuck? Did you even listen to a word I said? It's like the more
Creepy version.
creepier version of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I genuinely feel for women and being married to an LGBT. Uh, I've been more LGBTQ plus. Excuse me. I've been more
Alphabet.
yeah. I've been more intrigued as to like apparently it's a man thing because gay men are the same way too. They're very forward
Mhm.
and
It's a
I
biological thing.
yeah,
Before we get
I don't
into it, Scolder 22, Hey Sugar Tits, when's the next episode of 1999? So,
well, camera issues abound. Speaking of Mother Mayhem, she's the guest for that, and I am cameraless at the moment. So
mhm.
that's why I teased our thing that we're just sit tight.
Yeah, it's a biological thing with men, and it's not an excuse, but it's just a
Yeah.
reality. It's a genetic thing. It's a DNA makeup. We're programmed to make more of us.
Mhm.
That's nature's way of ensuring survival. Is okay. One of them produces the children. The other one needs to want to produce the children constantly. And they always there's a lot of jokes. There's probably thousands of hours of stand-up comedy alone dedicated to the joke about the big head and the little head, and it's absolutely a fact. I don't care if you're gay, straight, whatever it is. Guys want, what is it, like every 7 seconds on average think about sex, and when you put it on paper it sounds horrific, but that's the natural thing. But the way you triumph over that is just having the big head lead, knowing when to say yes, when to say no, when to
Yeah.
be a good person. And
I think part of the problem is, and this has to do with I mean this attention seeking culture that we're in. You have different. I mean, it's a case by case basis for everybody. You have certain people who like that, who want to exploit that.
really makes it a difficult conversation, because like nowadays, like we've always had porn, we've always had premium Snapchats and shit like that. OnlyFans might as well as be as synonymous as Facebook and Instagram at this point.
Yeah.
And it's a really weird place of social media culture that we're in, because we're right in the thick of support women, believe women, Me Too, everything like that. But at the same time, and obviously a sexual assault doesn't tie into OnlyFans, but we're talking about just the comments and the thirstiness and everything like that. But we're in the time where it's the most socially acceptable to just present your naked self and be like, hey, tit me. And it's weird. It's weird for guys to turn that off. Like some guys know better, but it's weird for some guys to feel invited on one end and then shut off in the other, and it's like they can't make the switch.
Well, I mean, even going back to the time of even if you went to a strip club and you got a private dance, you can't touch the girls. Like there was always this weird thing. Like, all right, so you're turning me on, but my hands have to be on the bars. This is
Mother Mayhem's here.
This is totally against everything I want to experience, but the thing. So what the internet has done, it's expanded all of these little things as an adolescent, horny young boy. There have been so many times where I've watched a movie and wondered, man, I really like to see her naked. Presto, Mr. Skin comes along. It tells you every it's the encyclopedia of if an actress appeared naked in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, OnlyFans, like again, playing into something where fuck, I can't tell you. When I was working at the movie theater, this is me as an idiot teenager, where I would fuck the couch cushion if I could. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's a good thought to have. It's reprehensible, but I'm just being honest. It's something I thought about. There have been times where I've thought, wow, she's kind of cute. I wonder what she looks like naked. And now you have OnlyFans where it's like, hey, $20, find out.
Mhm.
And then that I don't know what further steps there are. I mean, prostitution's the oldest profession in the world. It's just we.
Isn't it weird too? Like, I'm not saying that I would ever utilize this service, but I've always thought it was funny that we live in a country where prostitution's legal, but porn is not.
Yeah, no,
Isn't that a little weird?
you can't sell your pussy, but if you film it, you're good.
Exactly. That's what's so fucking weird about it. Oh man.
Hey, put
Mother
a
Mayhem,
camera
you
on.
joined at the weirdest part of this conversation, by the
yeah,
way. She comes in and it's like, I'd fuck the couch cushion. Why is prostitution illegal?
You could put the picture up too, because I think we're done.
Oh yeah. There you go. Sorry, everybody, you missed some good shit. But yeah, it's weird, and it's becoming more and more normal to promote and or ask about OnlyFans. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen a girl's Instagram or YouTube channel or something, and there's a random comment like OnlyFans ? And it's like it's becoming a weird, like you would think walking up to somebody like, hey, do you have pictures of yourself naked online? And it'd be like the weirdest fuck. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, well, shoot that motherfucker. He's broke.
That's a thing now. I mean, God, I feel so old. Like when you're texting somebody, hey, pics, you got pics, nudes, you got nudes. Like, what the fuck? What is this? Go on a date like a normal person would, and try the third time to take the shirt off. What the fuck is this pics bullshit?
Mother Mayhem. Every friend request I get on Facebook, one friend in common, Cody Leach, then they slide into my DMs. Thanks, Cody. I have no responsibility for that whatsoever.
Yeah, it's terrible. And I've been trying for the longest time. And I know what it looks like. So it's such a strange thing. Every now and again I'll do an interview on my channel where I just try to talk to somebody about things. I'm so desperate, and not desperate, fascinated to talk to a cam girl to understand what their life is like, what it is to just, kind of do what we do, but
prepping for a live stream, but instead of getting bullet points and graphics and news notes, you're picking out what outfit you're gonna use.
And people send super chats to use this specific dildo, and like, it fascinates me because like when we do 31 and 31, and it's just like, fuck, we gotta watch all the critters. Like, how many times do they go in there and it's like, Christ, you want me to do this thing? Like it's a job. It's got to be obnoxious to them. And I know I'm the wrong party. It'll just sound like I'm creeping out, but I'm fascinated to know what it's like for them. Just completely separated of the fact that they're nude on camera. It's fascinating because the world we are in right now is so strange. There's so many different directions that we're going in, where respect is heavy, but at the same time, you can sell images of yourself. I would hate to be, God, I would hate to be a young 13-year-old now, because I wouldn't know how to treat women. I genuinely wouldn't.
Yeah, and that's where being a parent is very important nowadays.
Yeah.
And managing social media, managing devices and everything. Like, I'm not somebody that, my kids don't have phones. They're not going to have phones until it's absolutely necessary. There's kids that are like 7, 8 years old that have cell phones. I was 18 before I had a cell phone, and it was not like the shit we have nowadays. So it's my biggest thing is to try to teach my kids, my son namely, how to be a man, how to treat women by the way that I treat their mother. I do everything I can to lead by example in that, right? And it is scary. It's scary when you have all these outlets. Back in the day, you had to go through the depths of Google to find porn, and now you just go to Pornhub. It's all free. You go to fucking OnlyFans, and you're seeing, all these people that you might know. And who knows how much more normal that's going to get. And it is weird to try to teach somebody how to speak, how to treat people when, on Facebook, if you send somebody a private message saying, show me a video of you playing with yourself, and then you go to OnlyFans and you send the same exact message with a tip, one's acceptable, one's horrific.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It is. It is very strange. And I basically have the polar opposite of you. I have a certain respect for women because my mother was completely disrespected, and I had to sit and watch that. As she was a single woman on the dating scene, and fucking, there was 2 or 3 guys that would talk to me like I was just one of the guys, and I'm like, asshole, that's my mother. I don't want to be talking about this. A, B, ew, that's my fucking mother. Don't talk to me about this shit. Yeah, I get out of my house. You have to, I don't know, you have to experience something to understand. Empathy isn't good enough. I think sympathy isn't good. I forgot which pussy it is. You really need experience in what the consequences are, and what would you like this? I guess the best example I could say is, would you like whatever you're about to ask of this cam girl? Would you like to see your mom do that? Would you like to see it be done to your mom? Would you like to experience that through that lens? How do you feel about that? Okay, well, however you come to a conclusion from that, then I don't know, that's how we're all different, I guess. I experienced a very interesting upbringing. A single mom who was in her, she was very young. She was in her 20s. So I just knew that, okay, this is atrocious. I don't want, because they'd leave, and I'd be stuck with the, it would just be her and me, and she'd be a fucking wreck. And I'm like, all right, this is, these people are destroying my mother. I can't go be a human being out in the real world and recreate anything of what I've just witnessed. This is terrible.
Yeah, I grew up with a single father. I had quite the opposite experience, to where my mom was very rarely around. The times that she were is kind of a blur, but she would kind of come and go for quite a while. But it's amazing that for somebody that, my dad always hid his relationships. Not hid, but he kept that life separate for our sake. He didn't want us to get attached to somebody and then they break up, and then get attached to somebody, then they break up. So there, from the entire time before he met who eventually became my stepmother, so I was 14 when my dad got remarried. So from 3 years old all the way up to 14, I can only genuinely remember like 2 girlfriends of my dad's, even though he had way more than that. And it's amazing that I kind of turned out the way that I did, being that I really didn't have a whole lot of firsthand experience of watching, parents, how they treat each other, or how people in a relationship treat each other, seeing the good and the bad. I mean, I saw a lot of the bad when my mom was around, but to that point, it was, I was kind of in the dark for a lot of my life until I was a teenager, and I kind of had to like learn from other people's mistakes. I had to learn from watching people crash and burn or whatever. And it's interesting. It's interesting how I turned out the way that I did. And I wasn't just like a fucking crazy person. I was like, I don't know how to socially interact with women. Sorry.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, we can,
so the celebrities, let's
yeah, let's talk about So, in the news pretty recently, we've had a couple of the newest names tacked to the Me Too list. One of them being shock rocker Marilyn Manson.
No, not
Um,
Marilyn Manson.
And you know what? Not to make a joke out of something very serious, but I kind of said the same thing on Facebook. I was like, did anybody really get shocked to find out that this guy was a creep? I've never really listened to his music. This is absolutely judged a book by its cover, by the way, and I own that. I've always thought that he was just way too out there for me. I remember seeing album covers where he's got his dick tucked and all this weird shit, and I'm like, I can't. No, sorry. And so he basically, there's a whole timeline that I have laid out here where a lot of people over time have spoken about this, but it's kind of the theme, not only of the movie, but nowadays, where a lot of unheard victims, or a lot of sweeping under the rug, shoulder shrugging, boys will be boys, rockers will be rockers. Most recently, what started all this is that he's got his ex-wife, Evan Rachel Wood, who has publicly named him as an abuser. And since then, a lot of people have come out of the woodwork in support of her, his past relationships, even some of his peers in the rock metal industry have come out and said that they can't stand the guy because of things that they've seen and things that he's said and done. You had, I think it was Jenna Jameson, and we had a story where she was talking about Marilyn Manson, where they were an item for a little bit and she broke it off immediately when he told her one night that he had a fantasy about setting her on fire. God. It very weird shit. Like, Evan Rachel Wood, basically, it got a whole timeline of when she started to, August 2018, the district attorney declines to pursue a case against Manson after she testified in February of 2018 to Congress. Then she testified before California in 2019, April. And then finally in February, she just publicly names him as an abuser. So that's 3 years of trying to pursue charges. And it took her outing him on social media. Assuming, of course, that this is all true. I mean, we have to, guilty until proven, or innocent until proven guilty. But with the amount of people coming out and saying, I had the same experience, with the exception of Rose McGowan, which is very strange. Rose McGowan was with him for a long time. And for somebody that's as outspoken in the Me Too stuff as her, she was the only one who was like, I support her, but I have no idea what you're talking about. And it was like, you of all people? But yeah, very odd situation with this guy. He's getting everything yanked. Like, his music's getting yanked from the radio. I think he got dropped by his label. Safe to say you're probably not going to see any more Marilyn Manson tours.
See, there's this thing too, that the internet gives us a lot to do. Millennials, kids that were born in the, with a 2 as the first number, are going to have a far different experience moving forward. Jesus Christ, a kid who was born in 2000 is 21 today. But back in the hard rock lifestyle, Ozzy Osbourne snorted fucking ants, and the big thing was, getting what is it? The dude from Kiss who claims he fucked 10,000.
Gene Simmons.
That
was kind of the lifestyle.
Yeah, right. The
sex,
rock star
drugs, rock and
lifestyle.
roll.
Right. And so they did all this crazy shit. Wrestlers, apparently they did the same thing. They're on the road. They got nothing to do. Let's do some fucking drugs and, get fucked up and whatever. And you read about wrestlers now, and they play video games in their hotel room.
Got to behave now.
It's like, all right. So, the pre-2000 crowd, we just have things a little different. I'm not trying to say anything about Marilyn Manson that it's right, but like, he always thought of himself as this hard ass fucking edgelord super.
To that point, February 1998, he released his autobiography, with a bunch of anecdotes. And there was one chapter that was called Meeting, MEAT, Meeting the Fans, Meet and Greet. And in the autobiography, he recalled a deaf fan who got covered in raw meat and had sex with a number of band members before getting pissed on by Manson and his bandmate. You read something like that nowadays, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, if that ever came to, you wouldn't just put that in an autobiography nowadays. Like, yeah, I pissed on this deaf fan. And it's crazy that, like, that's almost like a timeline of acceptance there. Well, like back in the day, it was all the shock rock shit. Who can do the weirdest stuff?
The thing that preempts that is the Motley Crue book.
The Dirt.
The Dirt came out, and that was when I remember it when that came out. That was like the mid '90s, and everyone was like, "Holy shit! The things that these fuckers did is insane." And that was the bar. And I think Marilyn Manson was trying to exceed even that, and you know, there's that shock. I mean, there were shock comedians, Andrew Dice Clay, Sam Kinison. There was this weird period in the '90s where it was just about
shock radio jockeys like Howard Stern.
Yeah, right. So I fucking just we go through such weird stretches. If a deaf fan, if you're a deaf fan, why do you like Marilyn Manson?
That's why she likes Marilyn Manson.
You don't experience, no, I don't hear anything. It's probably great.
Oh man, yeah, I don't know. I've always had a mental block with him. I just remember walking into music stores as a kid, and I've always been a rock and metal guy, but I always remember seeing album covers, and it just always seemed like some sadomasochistic dominatrix, fucking weird shit. And I really had no experience with him up until he was one of the people on Sons of Anarchy, and I was like, oh, it's that guy. That he's still a thing.
Sky, if you can highlight her, yeah, there it is. He had a documentary hidden from existence because the shit he did in it to groupies would get him thrown in prison.
I believe it. And it's you know, part of that, I guess, is you know, who knows with all these stories, maybe it was all willing. I mean, is it a crime to throw meat on a deaf fan and piss on her if she asks for it? There's that argument, I guess, but it's still like it's just some extreme shit that there's a whole, from that point, there's a lot of, you know, assault and sexual misconduct charges that were kind of swept under the rug, and some interviews that weren't really taken seriously. And then, like, now in the days where somebody sends the signal flare up and everybody comes out and says, yep, me too. And then you have Phoebe Bridgers voicing support, Evan Rachel Wood sharing more details, Wolf Alice's Ellie Rousel shares her experience. So you got a lot of people coming out of the woodwork saying, yeah, that guy's a fucking freak. So it's a strange time that we're in, that it seems like the Me Too stuff is so heavy and has been so heavy for the past couple of years that I'm surprised that a lot of people haven't jumped on it sooner. Like, it seems like this slow trickle effect that we're having, to where as soon as it was not only acceptable and popular, but it's like, okay, we believe you 100%. You would think that pretty much anybody that had a story like this would have came out then. But I don't know, maybe she was under non-disclosure agreements when she was in the middle of fighting all of this, but
fuck NDAs.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Never had one. Never had one.
No comment.
Going along with that, this one's probably even more recent, and it's not quite as extreme as the details that we have on Marilyn Manson, but Joss Whedon is finding himself in the middle of a lot of hot water here lately. So for the past, what's it been, like a year now? It feels like it. Like, Ray Fisher, the guy who played Cyborg on Justice League, has been giving a lot of very vague accusations at anybody involved with the Justice League reshoots, namely Joss Whedon. And it's been a lot of he said, she said. You know, it's been a lot of tweets by Ray Fisher, and they're all very vague, which sucks because it makes people doubt you, assuming that it is true. And there was an investigation by Warner Media. Quickly after that, Joss Whedon left this project that he was working on for Warner. And so they basically said, all right, we talked, we figured everything out. remedial action has been taken. And Ray Fisher has not been quiet in the aftermath of that. He's been just continuing on, naming more names. And One Injustice got fired off the Flash movie. And up until this point, I've had every reason to doubt Ray Fisher just because it seems very strange the way that he's gone about it.
Mm-hmm.
And just maybe this week, end of last week, we have Charisma Carpenter, who was one of the February 10th. So that's 2 days ago. Wow. Feels like a lot longer ago. So Charisma Carpenter comes out. She was one of the main cast members in Buffy and in Angel, I believe, which he was the showrunner of on both of those. And basically has a whole bunch of allegations against Joss Whedon. Said that there was ongoing passive threats to fire her. He called her fat, especially when speaking to others about her. When she became pregnant, they would change the work time and force her to get there at 1 a.m., even though that she was under medical order to stay, to decrease her work hours, eventually firing her off of the show for not meeting those hours. There was even a point where I had read that they had private conversations where Joss was essentially suggesting to her to abort the baby so that it wouldn't be, not only the child itself and her probably having to take time off of the show for that, but just the physical having to shoot around her body changing. And it led to a difficult pregnancy for her. So she had a lot of really strong things to say. And ever since then, basically every other female in that show, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Michelle Trachtenberg, even Eliza Dushku has come out. Sarah Michelle Gellar said basically that she is proud to have her name associated with Buffy Summers, but does not want to be forever associated with the name Joss Whedon. And Michelle Trachtenberg came out, which I remember from the Nickelodeon days and the Harriet the Spy movie and stuff like that, to where she was like 14 when she was on the show. And I guess his behavior, his sense of humor, and kind of his sexual harassment and everything, eventually there was a corporately like mandated rule on set that he was not allowed to be alone with her.
And again, this is just an extension of yesterday's activities. Hollywood loves pointing the finger at society and telling you what you should and shouldn't be doing. Meanwhile, they can't keep their own shop. Why are there not human resource departments in these SAG, these unions? How I know they have specific conditions that child actors only have 4 hours or something like that, and even that pisses them off. Hollywood, I guess what? It's time to start looking inwards. That for as much as your stories are telling us we need to do something, why don't you do as you say?
Oh yeah, the big one not too long, a couple of years ago, was Weinstein. Everybody knew that shit was going on. I mean, you had people like Quentin Tarantino and Ben Affleck and all these people that had worked with him, and nobody, I don't think anybody outright was like, yeah, I knew all of this stuff was going on, just didn't say anything. But everybody knew that there was some shady shit behind closed doors. And like you said, it's crazy to think that under this bubble, all this stuff is happening. And even though the people in that bubble are the main ones leading the charge, because they think that everybody loves to hear their voices 24/7, it's crazy that the finger's not being pointed more inward. It's like a big life lesson to all of us to speak up and everything. But it's like, clean your fucking bubble out.
Yeah. And I don't know if you saw the movie about what was it? Charlize Theron, Margot Robbie, about the Fox News women. What the fuck was that called? It's just a year or two old, that movie. And that was kind of horrifying. About Megyn Kelly. Shit. What
Bombshell?
the hell? Bombshell. That's it. A fictionalized version of real shit, but creepy stuff. I mean, see what's weird about Hollywood and modeling and things like that is, yeah, you're selling a product of attraction, and some of that, like, I've been in 2 casting things as a director. I've been in a bunch of casting calls as a child actor. As a director, I could not be more uncomfortable asking them certain things, like, okay, all right, they look good. What the fuck? Why do we need their figure size? What uh, you know sex sells, and it's incredibly unfortunate, but they should be even more delicate with it, because it's such, especially now that all this shit is coming out, and if you're an executive producer, it just seems like you're just not safe anymore. They're gonna have to just start rewriting the books and do some serious human resources, because shit's fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. I was typing it. Guys in the chat, please don't head down the road that you're heading, because I already see it going very bad. Keep your opinions to yourself if you know it's going to set everything on fire. So it's a weird thing, because like the thing that surprises me is that, you've had a couple of people in the DC world, like Justice League, like I think Aquaman, what's his name, Jason Momoa came out supporting Ray Fisher and didn't say anything specific, but I'm still waiting to hear from the Avengers crowd. Like, obviously Joss did 2 movies with them, and to me, they don't seem like the type of people that would be quiet about that once the ball started getting rolling. And I don't know, maybe some people professionally just like to stay quiet. They don't like to be the fire starters, the whistleblowers or whatever, but it was such a money too.
Keeps you quiet.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how much comfort financial comfort will keep you really content.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's a weird situation, but like you always try to say, like I said with Manson, you always try to say, innocent until proven guilty. Accusation doesn't mean necessarily that it was true. Sometimes people lie. Sometimes, it might be 100% true. You never know until the details come out. But with both of these cases, with Marilyn Manson and with Joss Whedon, it's very difficult to keep that mindset when literally everybody comes out of the woodworks once that happens. Once one person speaks up, then there's 7 others in line saying, yep, and I had this experience. For the entire basically cast of that show to come out within a day or so, coming out with support, it's pretty hard to doubt that. It's pretty hard to keep that innocent until proven guilty mindset. Now you're just waiting for physical proof, or you're waiting for actual charges to be filed, or whatever route they take. But it's pretty crazy. Let's see. All right.
No, it's not wrong to be attracted to people. It's a delicate situation. Sometimes people don't want to hear shit. Like, you can't just say, hey, God, you're gorgeous. It's inappropriate. Some people like hearing that, but you can't assume that every single person is like that. Everything is a case by case basis with people. We're not all the fucking same. I think that seems to never get across to people, that we're all different until you figure out who's what. Play it safe and just behave yourself. First impressions, you shouldn't be fucking doing anything inappropriate. And yes, calling somebody attractive is inappropriate.
There's a lot of different routes for it to go. Sometimes it can be just compliments, can go as far as sexual assault or not sexual assault. I'm sorry, sexual harassment. There's abuse of power, which is a wide fucking bubble to be under. It could be the classic quid pro quo. It could be somebody that's in some kind of a public light that uses his position and leverages it against people that he considers fans or whatever. I mean, it's a lot of avenues to go that route, but the main thing is just don't head down that road. It's easy to see the road. You know what you're doing. And more people need to choose that.
You could say, "God damn, you're hot" to three girls, and all three can have different experiences to that. One could actually like it, and she worked 2 hours in the morning to get noticed. And oh my God, thank God somebody thinks I'm attractive. The second could be working on a doctorate and really is trying to succeed for a bunch of, scholastic reasons. And it's like, thanks. I put fucking 40 hours worth of work into this chemistry project, and you're talking about me being hot. And the third one, could be indifferent, just like, okay. All right. So like, we're all different, and I don't know.
It is hard too, because you bring up an interesting point, just from a guy's perspective. It's very hard to know the rule when there is no rule. Like you said, 3 different women can have 3 different reactions. And if you get the first one, obviously you're going to try the shit again. And it's hard. Sometimes there's so many, and I haven't I'm trying to think of how to put this. I've had different women to react to the same thing. And it does make it very confusing. I've never gone far. I've never done anything bad or like something that I would be horrified to admit or anything like that. But here's a simple example. So there was a girl that I was interested in one time, and she was pretty forward, like over text and everything like that. But she was a little more timid in person, and it was fine. I mean, I was kind of the same way. You always talk a little more confidently when you don't have to face the person.
Sure.
But I remember we had dated a couple of times, or went on a couple of dates, and we had it got to a point where I was trying to see, like, okay, is it ever going to go further? Or you get to that point where you're trying to see how much wiggle room you have. And I remember I was in my Jeep with her at the time. I had a Jeep, or no, it was a truck. So I had my truck, and I was more or less trying to get a kiss, or get her to kiss me, or see if we were at that point yet. And she was kind of playing that hard to get thing. Like, I'm facing her and she's kind of like doing this, you know what I mean? Like, no, we're not doing that right now. And I remember all I did was like, I kind of like took her face and just rotated it like maybe like 10 degrees towards me, and she fucking freaked out. She was like, "What are you doing? Don't grab my," and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Like, it was just, it was the weirdest reaction that I did not expect, because you figure some girls play hard to get, or they want you to take charge or whatever, and some girls absolutely do. They want you to come in and just fucking be alpha male, which is just weird. But she had the opposite reaction, and I remember I just felt so like devastated in that second. I was like, I'm sorry. Like it was just such a weird experience, and that does create a lot of fucked up confusion for guys out there when they're approaching situations where they're like, well, like but it worked last time. Like,
experience has a lot to do with it too. When I was 15, I was interested in a girl, and her best friend told me, ask her out. She's into you. And I wanted to be the fucking superhero with a cape, and I've been watching movies all my life, and I figured I'd ask her out and fucking swing for a home run. And I was like, hey, after we were sitting and walking around for a long period, and we finally got to a park bench, and I was sitting down talking to her, and I was like, I think I love you. And then she was like, dude, she's like, dude, we're 15. And I went from an easy date to her saying, yeah, that's a bit much. Yeah. I all I had to do was just put it in neutral, and I was like, "Nah, fuck it, let's do 100." And I just fucking crashed. I was like, "Oh, okay, that all right. You shouldn't try so hard."
Oh yeah, it's weird. Like even if you're not talking about physical stuff, just where the relationship is, it's so difficult going from one person to the next because I don't know if men are that way. I've never dated any men, but when you go to women, women especially are, in my experience, are just so unique that it's like hitting the reset button. Like any of your experience for the most part is now void, and now you have to kind of learn again. And it's such a hard tightrope to walk.
Mm.
You know, luckily when you're somebody that I can say I am, that I've never and never would go extreme. Like I would never even come close to any of these Joss Whedon allegations or anything like that. But
Right.
even just that simple example of turning the cheek to sneak in a quick kiss or whatever. Nowadays, I mean, you could blow that the fuck up if you wanted to. Like if I was some celebrity or something like that, and it was like, you know, he tried to assault me, and I'd be like, oh no, I just tried to fucking oh god damn it. Like, and it's scary. I can imagine it being really scary trying to walk that tightrope nowadays, especially if you're somebody that's in the public eye. I think Aziz Ansari had something like that, didn't he? Where like he just basically had a bad date, but she like nuked his whole fucking career.
I don't have much experience with women. I've had mostly serious relationships, but every first kiss that I've had with a girl, I've asked to kiss her. And there was one time where a girl leaned in to kiss me, and she had a boyfriend, and I pulled back, and I was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa." and she was pissed, and I was like, "Wait,
oh yeah,
I'm not getting in the middle of any of that shit."
Oh yeah, I've had totally different experiences with that too. So I have the chick in the truck. I have that experience. I had another chick where I had basically hinted at it all day long, and then all but outright asked, and then she kissed me. I had Holly, who literally just fucking planted it on me. I didn't even have a choice in the matter. Yeah. She was just like, blah. And so it's those three different experiences right there. I'm like, I don't fucking know what to do. It's just, I don't know what's left, what's right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just so it's difficult. It's not easy. It's, if it were easy, everybody would everybody would be married, and I don't know, we'd be bored from all the easiness that everything is.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez.
And it's probably I think the scary thing on if I had to assume, I wish Mother Mayhem was on here talking with us. She could give us the other perspective. I'm curious of what the opposite perspective is on men, if every man is different.
Dude, I know. And fucking Emily's no help, because I ask her about like nudity. I'm forever intrigued as to, there's so much female nudity in movies, but there's rarely male nudity. Why? What I mean, if sex sells and you're shooting for that 17 to 24-year-old, which is when men peak and are their horniest, I get that, but why wouldn't you have nude men for the what is it, 24 to 32 is when women peak? It doesn't make sense to me why Hollywood wouldn't capitalize on the people that there are more of. There's more women than men.
We had that talk last night, actually, kind of, or it was like, maybe I was more making a joke out of it, but my wife wanted to watch Pieces of a Woman, and I had no idea what the movie was about, but I know it was like a big Oscar runner or whatever coming out. I came downstairs and I was like, so what's this movie about? Why are we watching it or whatever? And she kind of just threw out. She's like, oh, the girls at work were talking to me about it and said that Shia LaBeouf's dick's in it. And I was like, oh, great. I'm so excited to watch this movie now. And she's like, look, we watch so many movies with you that just have tits everywhere. I'm like, I didn't put the tits there. It's not my fault. I put a movie in, like, oh, okay, they're naked here. But it is funny that you bring that up, because you expect female nudity in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
But when a dick shows up, you're like, whoa, like going for it.
It's weird. Emily has a phrase. She calls it the L-shaped duvet. Duvet is another phrase for blanket. And there'll be a scene where, like, post-sex, guy's topless. You could see him topless. He's laying down. The woman's laying down right next to him, but she's got the blanket up to her chin. And it's like, wait a minute. How on earth is this guy completely exposed, but she's got a blanket on?
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. So we're at what?
What is Firehouse Subs?
Oh, that's a sub chain. That's not it. That's not the real. That's not the real account. That's just a troll account or whatever. But Firehouse Subs is it's a sub place down here. I don't know if you guys have it up north.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You really got me.
You don't even know where it is. Oh,
I know. Oh fuck, the place, I have no idea what it is. I can't eat your sandwiches because I'm talking about fucking what I don't even know. Fucking equality in sexuality. Like, Jesus.
Exactly.
What a weird thing to do. What a weird thing to do.
It is very strange. I'm gonna go there tomorrow just to prove you wrong. They're not gonna. What if how fucked up would it be if I walked in and they're like, it's him?
The movies.
I walk in and there's a picture of me on the fucking little glass that you can't squeeze on, like
with the Ghostbusters. No.
Oh man. All right, guys. So we're at 1 hour and 40. We'll round it off at 2 hours. So we'll spend the next 20 minutes just talking to the chat. So we've already went through some pretty interesting topics. I think we've said everything that we can think of to say on that, but we will spin the wheel over to you guys if you guys want to throw out some topics for us to chat about. I had a guy earlier giving us a couple of super chats, but they were like so far off of what we were talking about.
Asking about a movie and
DreamWorks animation, and I'm like, we're talking about sexual assault culture.
Thank you, but no. Yeah, after these last 2 nights, I think I'm gonna have to have taken all of my anxiety medication. This was a fuck. You know what? Fuck it. Let's just cover Unplanned tomorrow and get the whole trifecta.
Yeah, I already stepped on a small landmine with that whenever I just brought abortion up lightly in my original Black Christmas review.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
That was fucking what? No, I'll be done in a minute, baby. I'll be out in a little bit.
Yeah, 12 Years a Slave. We can do a review for that and see how that goes. That'll be fine. The chat will be just
giddy. Just giddy.
Just perfectly crystal clear and clean.
Are you going to see Willy's Wonderland? Are you familiar with what this is?
That's that Nicolas Cage where he's fighting a cartoon or something, right? Am I half right?
Like Five Nights at Freddy's or something. Like he's stuck in like a Chuck E. Cheese place, and all of the animatronics are possessed. I watched it earlier today. I was not a fan. I'll say that. I'm probably going to do a review for it, probably. But Nicolas Cage, man, I don't know what it is. Like on paper, everything that he does is like, yes, do that. And then I watch the movie, and almost without exception, I'm always disappointed. You have this movie where Nicolas Cage literally shows up in this town, his tires pop or something. He gives it to the mechanic, and the mechanic says, hey, I need this amount of money. He doesn't have it. He says, okay, well, we have another route. We have this place over here that you can clean as an overnight shift. And by the time that morning comes, I'll have it fixed, and you can pay it back that way. They lock him into this place, Willy's Wonderland, and he goes to cleaning, and one by one, the animatronics come to life and try to kill him, and he fucks them up. And you have a movie that's so zany and so unashamed B-movie with a star like Nicolas Cage that's known for being just wacky and crazy and over the top. His character doesn't say one fucking word the entire movie. The shtick with his character is that he just looks at everybody. Doesn't say anything. And I'm like, did you motherfuckers not learn your lesson from taking away Ryan Reynolds' mouth in X-Men Origins? Like, you don't take a actor like Nicolas Cage and give him a speakless role. And so that annoyed me the whole fucking movie. I'm like, why are you doing this? That's retarded. You could have this movie so much more entertaining. Aside from that, the editing drove me fucking nuts with the film. Like every single time you get to a fight scene with one of these animatronics, they do that shaky cam, ultra quick cut shit. And they also have this blurred, like acid trip kind of effect going on at the same time. So every fight, I was like, I think that's what gave me a headache, honestly. We almost had to delay the show. Right. We almost had to delay the show because I had a headache for like 3 hours, and it came by the end of that movie. And it was because every fucking sequence that was like the moment you wait for was like fucking somebody was on Ambien and sleeping pills, and then they got like a shot of monster to the fucking heart, and they said,
Crank did that well. Crank did, how to experience what the fuck he's going through. What they did with the camera in that movie was really good. But Irreversible is a movie that made me fucking nauseous. The movie, the first half an hour, the camera's just slowly just rotating, and there's just atrocious noises, and it's that's a movie. And then when the camera stops, you're like, oh, we're going to stay still for a 10-minute rape scene. All right, can we go back to the moving? Because I don't want to see this. So fucking, all right, I'll take the moving again.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the shaky cam thing and taking away Nicolas Cage's ability to be Nicolas Cage was just absolutely baffling to me, to where I watched it, and I actually sent you, I think I sent it to you. I might have sent it to Mother Mayhem. I was like, this movie is going to get blown left and right by the horror community. I already know it. This is going to be the flavor of the month. Must have been Lindsay. I didn't get but it's going to be the flavor of the month. I can tell you right now, they're going to have a bunch of praise for it. And if you genuinely like it, I'm not telling you you're wrong, but the movie's not that great. Well, it's a movie that is trying to be this throwback 80s B movie type thing, but it's like all surface value. It's all surface 80s nostalgia B movie. It's nothing. It doesn't have the heart or the soul of the genre that it's going for. So it just, to me, it was like, okay, another Nicolas Cage movie that sounded great on paper that I'll never watch again.
I think the last Nicolas Cage movie that I appreciated was Knowing.
I did not see that one. That's where at the end aliens are going to take some of us, right, and save the kids or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, nobody's give a fuck, honestly. Hang on 1 second. Sorry,
yeah,
my wife's trying to get a fucking dinner order while I'm live.
Yeah, I'll take 2 chicken tacos. Do you guys, William Fox, $5 super chat? Thank you. Do you guys like the band Primus? I can get down with Primus a little bit.
Yes, you messaged me about it. Then we laughed at live stream clips. Yes, we did.
I think that I know a little bit about that.
Yeah, I sent the clips to CP too. We all had a little giddy laugh.
Yeah, together. Thanks for not sharing, Lindsay. I could have enjoyed that very much. Primus is good. My Name is Mud is probably one of my favorite Primus songs. Mr. Fuck, what's his name? That music video is fucking trippy as hell. Mr. There are really. I'm assuming you're unfamiliar, Cody.
Yeah, I'm totally.
Yeah, they're a bit of a. They're rock, but the bassist is really incredible. And they're really heavy on bass. Mr. Crinkle, I think is. I'll send you a track. They have fans. They're not Metallica, but they're not Alice in Chains. They're one of those bands that people like, and again, the bassist is incredible. And turned down Metallica when Newsted left, so that was pretty impressive. Because the bassist, I'll send you My Name is Mud, and it's just bass, fucking jizz is what it is, and
so if you're into bass, that's the band to check out.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. There's a Primus song in Brain Scan.
Can you send some wings and beer to my house if I send you some money?
Can you send me some money?
Yeah. On the subject of wings, are you a big chicken wing guy?
Yeah, yes. Not spicy, but
Not spicy.
yeah,
Oh my
dude.
God. You and my wife would get along.
No, please, no, no.
Holly hates spicy food, and I'm a spicy food fanatic. Like my spicy tolerance is like fucking god level because I've ate it my whole life. And it's so difficult because I do all the cooking and I want to make things to my liking, but she really like if your tolerance level goes from 0 to 10, mine's like in the 8, 9 range probably. And hers is 0. Like any spice whatsoever, and I'll know immediately because she'll be really slow about eating, and if she's in a bad mood she'll just flat out say it. But I've had a couple of times, like I make chili sometimes in the winter, and I always try to make it medium because I can add a little bit of hot sauce to chili and I'll be okay. But jalapenos are so unpredictable, and I can't figure out like what the telltale, if it's greener it's hotter, or if it's bigger it's hotter. I don't fucking know. I've made chili with 5 jalapenos that are like the whole thing's extremely mild, and I'm pissed. I'm like, what the fuck, this isn't spicy at all. And I've made chili with like 2 jalapenos that are like giving my head sweats. So it's hard. But I had made chili back in like, fuck, I don't know, November, and I thought it was pretty mild. I was adding hot sauce to it, and she eats it. She's like, oh, this is spicy, I can't eat it. And I'm like, great, now I got this fucking cauldron of chili that only I can eat. And then I had the same problem last weekend. So we don't watch football, but I made some queso dip because everybody was talking about all the shit they were making for the Super Bowl. So I made some beefy queso dip, and I thought it was just like the right amount of spice because I didn't want a lot. I wanted just more of the cheese flavor, and she couldn't eat it unless she put like a whole fucking half a cup of sour cream in it. So it's this constant battle for me to try to nail the spice, and she never believes me. She's like, is it spicy? I'm like, it's not that spicy. And she's like, oh, if you say it's not that spicy, it's gonna fuck me up.
Yeah, that's my issue. I hate sour cream. If you drown it in cheese, I can handle some spice. But sour cream for me, I'm just not a fan. I'm totally not a fan. What? Gotham Knights Hogwarts Legacy? What the shit? Is that true?
Hang on, let me address something really quick. So we're back to talking about the issue earlier. Aaron, you didn't say anything that personally offended me, but what you were saying was starting to get a lot of people in the chat aggravated, and after I said to stop, you kept going. So that was simply just to cut that conversation off. So that's all that's about. Blocking for 5 minutes isn't a big deal. It's just a little warning flare. Sean Sheridan, any interest in Gotham Knights Hogwarts Legacy? Gotham Knights is the Batman Arkham game that's going to be like 4-player co-op. It's Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl, and Red Hood. That's coming out this year. I'm very interested in that. I love the Arkham Knight games. Hogwarts Legacy, I couldn't give less of a shit about. I'm not a Harry Potter fanatic or anything. I've only seen one of the movies. Eventually, I'll need to rectify that because it's just with Lord of the Rings the same. I've only seen the first one, but yeah, I'm not a big fantasy guy, but there's such big ones that I'd love to be part of the conversation. So at some point, I need to watch those. But yeah, any
Shit,
interest
I'll watch it
in
with you if you want. Fuck, we can do a commentary.
Yeah, we can do that. Any interest in Gotham Knights or Hogwarts Legacy?
I'm so behind in everything. I'll say, okay. Is it good? I mean, just the idea of what it is, it doesn't jump out at me. I'd like there to be a Camp Crystal Lake television series where it's just the camp for 10 episodes, and but I'm not going to get that. But I'm not a huge Batman guy, and I'm certainly not a Harry Potter guy. I haven't watched any of the adult ones. Emily's big on Harry Potter. She was actually just watching one of them a couple of nights ago.
I've seen the first one like 5 or 6 times. I saw it in theaters. I really liked it. That's back when the books were really big. I saw it again on home video once or twice. I might have seen Chamber of Secrets, but I have no memory of it, so I might as well have not seen it. But I've attempted to go back through the franchise at least twice since being on YouTube, and I'll watch the first movie, but it's like 3 hours long. So then I'm like, I go off and start doing other things and forget. And then before I know it, it's been a year. And I'm like, fuck, I got to start over.
I own them all. I've watched them all. But
I own 2 box sets of the Lord of the Rings and still haven't given it a chance yet.
Yeah, good for you. The book, I haven't read the books. The book readers ruin that series for me because they're like, oh yeah, the first one's good, but they didn't really cover this and that, and this is wrong. And
I hate that shit because it's like, come on, they do it with Game of Thrones too. It's like they just want to tell you the book is better or whatever, just so that you know that they read. And it's like, okay, cool. The book's better. It's never better not to see something. With the exception of The Girl on the Train, but that movie was absolutely garbage. The book was better than the movie. Daniel Skinner, opinions on King Kong 2005. I've only seen it once. Yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I might change my tune if I watch it now. I'm not really a big kaiju movie fan. Like, I haven't liked any of the Godzilla movies. I didn't care for Skull Island. Honestly, if I wasn't on YouTube, I wouldn't even watch Kong versus Godzilla. But I'm glad that I can watch it at home for free. Let's put it that way. Even though that movie's meant to be in theaters, I'm not really that. Pacific Rim is maybe the only like kaiju movie that I kind of enjoyed. It's just not my genre.
Yeah. I thought it was long. Peter Jackson for some reason can't make a movie 2 hours or less suddenly. I have enjoyed the recent Punch, Kong Skull Island. I enjoyed it. Hey, that was back when Brie Larson, people liked her as an actress. Remember that? She was in that movie. The 2014 Godzilla I liked. I understand people's disdain with the lack of Godzilla. It made me appreciate when we did see him. And
I was pissed. I hated it.
Yeah. King of Monsters, I thought was a little too much. I felt like, you needed something in between.
Well, the human side of things sucked, and that's why. Godzilla, I mean, my experience with Godzilla, the first one, the Gareth Edwards one, I was so excited for it because the trailer I thought was incredible. I thought that the look of Godzilla was awesome. It had Bryan Cranston in it, so of course my poor ass was there. This was the first time we have an IMAX theater, which everybody in the industry calls the Limax because it's not like really an IMAX. It's kind of a fake one. We have an IMAX close to us, and I had never been. And so me and my dad were going to go see this, and I bought IMAX. I think it was IMAX 3D too, because that was the only way you could see it. So it was like $18 a ticket to go see this movie. And so we went there, and both of us had the same experience pretty much. We loved the movie the whole time Bryan Cranston was in it because his whole story of trying to take down the monster and losing his wife in the beginning and all of that was really captivating. As soon as he was dead and we were left to fucking Kick-Ass and Scarlet Witch, and they could not have been the more dull characters, and they kept dick teasing Godzilla the whole movie. It was just getting so fucking aggravating because the first time they do it, okay, fine. You're teasing us. You're building it up, whatever. But they kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it. They'd fucking get ready to punch, and then it would cut to a news clipping, and they're in the background. And the whole fucking movie, I was just getting visibly pissed.
The one scene where they were trolling the audience was the trailer. You see the doors close, and you could see Godzilla starting to fuck up the city in the background. That was the trailer shot. In the movie, the doors are shutting and you barely see the top of his head before the doors shut when they're like going in the bunker, and it's just like you didn't need to do that, guys. That was pretty fucked up.
Yeah. So basically that movie lives or dies on whether or not you appreciate the teasing or not, because some people are like, it builds it up, and other people are like, fuck you, show me Godzilla. Brandon Sparks, are you or Holly fans of blue cheese? Holly absolutely loves blue cheese. I am not the biggest fan of it. I like it on certain things. There was a pizza. It was actually the place we had our first date. There was a pizza place here called Uncle Mattio's, and it's kind of a Subway setup where you walk in, you choose the size of crust that you want, and then they have specialty pizzas, or you can just make your own, and they put it all together on this little assembly line. They cook it, they bring it to you. And it's some of the best pizza I ever had in my life because everything is just so fresh. And they, yeah, I know, motherfucker. So we have, there was a pizza there called Steak and Blue, and it was a garlic olive oil sauce, pieces of steak, mozzarella cheese, sun-dried tomatoes, spinach, and then they put blue cheese on top of it, and then after it comes out, they do like a balsamic glaze. And that is one of the best fucking pizzas I've ever had in my life, and it has blue cheese flavor that's pretty prominent. But I'm not like a blue cheese dressing person. I don't put blue cheese like on salads or sandwiches. Holly's a blue cheese fanatic. She'll get blue cheese over ranch any day.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I don't like any of the creams. I don't like ranch. I mean,
My dad's that way. My dad's that way, and he's never said it. My stepmom jokes with him about it, which makes me think that it's probably real. She says that it's like a phobia, like anything that looks like cum, he won't eat.
Yeah.
Mayonnaise, ranch, anything that says creamy something.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking about it because of the fast food joints, I quite prefer Wendy's. And they had this like super cheddar bacon thing, but they had like, you know, a cheeseburger, but then they had like this fucking cheese like cheese whiz on top, and it was just like you're ruining this shit. Just what is this shit?
There's a burger at it's either Rally's or Checkers, depending on what part of the country you're in. But it's called the Baconzilla, and it's basically a riff on the Baconator, but it has cheese and it has this cheese sauce on it, which is similar to what you're saying. And that fucking thing is delicious. I love Rally's or Checkers. Their fries are awesome. I think they got the best spicy chicken sandwich. Hello.
I ordered food. I'm gonna run and go pick it up.
Okay, I love you. I'm getting off here in a few minutes, but that's fine.
Yeah, hey, you just mentioned.
I know. I told you that. That's if I was that worried about it, I wouldn't have told you to get anything. I love you. Thank you. Did you order some bullshit on purpose just to fucking spite me?
I ordered $50 worth of fucking tacos. So,
yo,
I never fucking know what you want.
$50. $50.
It all has lettuce, so.
You didn't get no lettuce?
I didn't know how to customize it all.
Oh my god.
You picked the lettuce off. You said you didn't give a fuck.
Okay.
You guys are married. You guys are definitely married. That's awesome.
You better lose a fucking dude. What are you giggling about?
Look at you. Look at my tacos.
Knock this shit over.
Okay,
I'll knock it all over.
I'm laughing at you, laughing at me. Come on. That's my wife.
Yo, $50 worth of tacos. That
knows that I cannot stand lettuce as a topping, but doesn't get it removed. Oh man.
Yeah. Emily's the same way. I'm not big on spicy. England. Emily, what's the spice that you really miss from England?
The spice from England?
That's on the like Indian food and stuff.
Oh, I don't know, jalfrezi or korma or whatever.
What's the stuff that you keep putting on food?
Chili powder?
Fuck. There's something.
Curries, it's a mix of
curry mix. She likes it, and whenever I'm sleeping or whatever, she always sneaks something with curry on it, and I'm like, you could eat without, you don't have to sneak it. Just fucking eat it without me. It's what?
I don't sneak curry.
There have been 4 times where I've been sleeping and I wake up to the smell of fucking curry.
It's not a secret.
It just feels like it. Oh, quick, he's sleeping. Let's go.
Yeah. Thoughts on Shallow Hal with Jack Black?
Dated. You can't make that movie today.
I love that movie. I think it's pretty funny. I think that it's one of those movies that people get offended by, but the whole message of the movie is about inner beauty. So it's like look past the offensive bullshit and see what the movie's actually saying.
Yep. And it's funny. You talk about a movie that is about looks and inner beauty, and there's a message behind it, but it offends people. And I could tell you the same thing about a movie that's on Netflix right now that people refuse to watch, that it's actually about something else. But I will not say what that is.
$50 went towards extra lettuce. I would not be surprised.
That'd be
I would not be surprised. Just to
That's
make
water.
a point. Just to make a point. Extra lettuce on all of his, please, since he doesn't want to tell me what he wants. I don't care. Get me anything is always a dice roll. It's always a dice roll, but fuck it.
Meat. Just meat, please.
Yeah.
I'll just have a bowl of meat.
Oh, man. We answered this last night, but do you have any excitement for Zack Snyder's Justice League now that we've got
Brian's not here.
Around? Yeah. Okay, there you go. That's an answer on itself. Oh, let's see here. Whoops. Have you ever thought about reviewing the Silent Hill or Devil May Cry games? No, because it's really difficult to go back and review older games. Movies are effortless.
Yeah.
You go back and throw on an old movie, it's easy to sit there for 90 minutes, and even if it's dated, you can just watch it. Games are extremely hard to go back and play. Sometimes even just to find, period. But if you can find it, it's hard to go back and play old games. Your body like forgets how to play them. I played Silent Hill 2 for the first time on PlayStation Now last year, and that thing was like playing with fucking cerebral palsy. I just didn't know what was left and what was right. And as games evolve, you get so used to fluid controls and rumble features and everything. You go back and try to play Crash Bandicoot on PS1, and you're gonna fucking die 1,000 times in the first level. It's very hard to go back and review older games, which makes it a bitch, because there is certain series like Silent Hill. If I could just pull them all up on PS5 right now, I'd love to do a Silent Hill review series, but I would have to go back and play all the old PlayStation ones that I haven't played, and then find the offshoots, and sometimes you can't even find those types of games, and I'm not going to go buy like a fucking bootleg N64 so that I can get that one, or everybody's going to scream at me that I forgot one in the ranking.
Get the mini.
Exactly.
They're going to get the mini, whatever the fuck's in.
They better have the N64 mini. They better. They had the other ones. The N64 is a shoe-in.
That fucking Mario Kart. I could play that and that alone.
Conker's Bad Fur Day and GoldenEye for me. Plot holes off the top of your head. A little harder.
Wow. Oh, man. Dude, no, my brain is not ready for a question like that.
Yeah, that's hard to do without preparation.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Plot holes. Oh shit! Why did you pay money for that question?
I know that's what makes it hard, because I don't want to be like, I don't know, and move on.
Jurassic. I don't know. It may not even be a plot hole. Jurassic Park, the big scene where the truck in the rain, where the dinosaur finally makes it over. He grabs the goat. The T-Rex grabs the goat and walks over the barricade onto the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we flip and we're on the other side of the barricade, there's a fucking 40-foot drop. But we just watched the T-Rex walk on air? If you watch the movie, they really fucked up on setting up the area, because he just steps over like the ground was the same on both sides of the platform, but over the platform, like they have that scene where they're hanging from the fucking concrete, and the truck falls on them, and it's like there's if you look at the size of the T-Rex, there's no way he could. That's the closest thing to. I don't even know if it's a plot hole, but that's what the first thing that comes to mind. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. My brain's broken.
Just do it, Cody. High Tension. Have you seen High Tension?
Oh, not in forever.
Not in forever. What were your thoughts on it with the plot twist?
Shitty. You
were not a fan?
Mm-mm.
Okay. At the risk of Mother Mayhem going ape shit in the comments, yeah, I was on that end to where I saw High Tension, and for those that haven't seen it, obviously I'm gonna have to spoil the ending. It's a movie where you have these two girls. I believe they're college friends. They go to the one girl's parents' house. A killer comes in the middle of the night, murders the whole family, takes the girl, and then the other girl, the main character, is basically on this rescue mission the rest of the movie, trying to get her friend back. And people, like, they're having, like, the father is literally decapitated with a dresser or a bookcase. It's a big, strong guy. There's a point in the movie where there's a car chase where the killer has the victim in the trunk and the main girl is chasing him in the car. There's a lot of scenes like that. And at the end of the movie, in the third act, they reveal that the killer is actually the main character. It's all in her head, and she is psychotically obsessed / in love with her friend, and she murdered her family and all this other stuff. And so I've heard the argument, especially from Mother Mayhem, the loudest from Mother Mayhem, that you reinterpret the movie's events as basically all being in her head, and it makes it okay. And I've watched the movie twice, and I just can't quite get there. For me, to me, the movie just does not work at all with that twist, especially when you have scenes where before the killer is even interacting with anybody, they're showing a scene where he's giving himself head with a severed face, and it's like, okay, she imagined that too, I guess. And then you have the car chase. How is she chasing somebody that doesn't exist? And then it's just it's a difficult movie for me to get for. So that's the type of movie where you get to the end and you take a fork. You either go along with it and it makes sense to you, or it destroys everything. So as far as plot holes, yes, that's one that I can't fit through.
Kind of, sort of, vaguely on topic with that. Have you ever had a movie that you enjoyed and wanted to hear somebody's opinion on, and they didn't like it, and like it kind of gutted you?
My dad does that a lot. Dad does that a lot. We used to have a lot of the same taste, but since my taste has evolved quite a bit as I've gotten older, there's been quite a few movies that I've recommended to him that he either comes back not liking or being kind of on, and I'm like, fuck you, you don't know anything. The most recent one was Invisible Man. He didn't really think much of Invisible Man. He's like, it's kind of bullshit at the end when she puts the suit on, and that would have taken her longer than it showed. And I'm like, that's what you're hung up about, really? So yeah, my dad does that to me all the fucking time. There was another one that this one I kind of half expected, but like, and you'll agree because I know you don't like this movie, but Sleepaway Camp. I gave him Sleepaway Camp, and I was like, watch this. And he got like maybe 10 minutes into it. He's like, I can't fucking do it. It's so cheesy. I'm like, it's supposed to be
terrible. Terrible.
Yeah. But yeah, my dad does that to me all the time. I'll give him something, and I'll be passionate about it, and he'll come back.
Well,
he did it with Gone Girl too.
Oh no, that's great. That movie. Come on. What's that movie? John Cusack, Hotel, 2003.
1408.
Nope. It's a rainy night. I think.
Identity.
Identity. I showed that to Emily, and like, I remember when that came out, I was like, oh my God, this is fucking incredible.
I love that movie.
And she was just like, this is bullshit. And I was just like,
does she like any movie that you show her? Because like, dude, you say all the classics she ruins, like Die Hard.
I love her to death, but when it comes to movies, she fucking just slaughters me daily. Just fucking, what is this? Or I won't be looking, and she's like doing something on the phone. I'm like, what? You're tapped out already?
Holly does that to me all the time, and I get pissed. I get excited about something, and I'm showing her it's a new movie, and I look over, and she's knee deep in fucking Candy Crush or something, and I'm like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Like,
yeah.
It's even worse if it's a movie that she picked. She had Pieces of a Woman on last night, and I looked over, and she was looking. I was like, put that fucking phone away. Yeah. If I'm watching this movie about a chick and her baby dying, you're watching it too.
The problem is, like, I'll be into the movie, I'll be watching it, and every now and again, like there's silence, and Emily's quiet, and then there's this big like reveal dialogue scene where she says,
look over to see her reaction.
No, not that. She'll talk over the dialogue to tell you something about, oh, did you know that they found a dead body? I'm like,
that must be a wife thing. That must be a wife thing, because Holly does that too. Like, she'll talk. It'll be it'll be dead ass silent, and they'll be showing B-roll and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And as soon as dialogue happens, she'll start, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like
Yeah.
it started an argument, I think, last weekend because she did that, and I kind of gave her this fucked up like.
Yeah.
No, she wasn't even talking. We were eating lunch and we were watching a movie, and it got to dialogue, and my dog was doing something, and she kept like nudging me, and I'm trying to focus, and I'm like, what? And my dog had his face like on the table. I was like, he wants food. He does that every fucking day. What do you want? And she's like, what? If you're gonna be that way, and I'm like, they're fucking talking.
I pick up the remote and hit pause, and then say, "What?"
Yeah, my dad used to do that too. When Lisa used to get onto him or say something, and he would go, he'd be like violent about it, like, continue. Oh man. If that's your thought on Jurassic Park, what about Carnosaur?
No. Somebody asked about plot hole. That's it. It doesn't make sense. I love Jurassic Park.
I don't even know what Carnosaur
I haven't
is.
seen Carnosaur. Don't mistake me pointing something out that doesn't make sense in Jurassic Park as me hating. I love Jurassic Park. It's just use your logic and your common sense head and watch that scene and tell me what the fuck is the T-Rex standing on before he climbs over the ledge where he's peeling the wires down. And then on the flip side, it's a fucking cliff. It's okay. I still love the movie. It's just an oopsie. So somebody on set forgot to tell somebody that, oh wait, Steven, this won't make sense in the movie because we just had him step over like it was nothing.
What trilogy do you prefer, Captain America, Dark Knight, or Spider-Man? And I rewatched Halloween 2018, and I see the issues now I didn't at first.
Dark Knight.
Captain America. It's very close between Captain America or Spider-Man for me, but Captain America.
Lindsay says, if you can understand identity, you can understand high tension.
Whatever.
Understand and appreciate are two different words.
Thank you. Thank you. One movie reveals, like, holy shit, that's fucking genius. The other one's like, oh, that's lame. Let's see. I hate when people in YouTube are watching the movie and talking the entire movie, like on a commentary. That's kind of what a commentary is.
That's what you just want to watch the movie with their face on the side.
Yeah, that's difficult. And trust me, I understand, because I'm typically quiet in movies. It's hard in commentaries to like keep conversation going, address the chat, commentate on what's actually happening, but enjoy the movie at the same time. Yeah, especially if you're doing it by yourself, it's a bitch.
Right. I have patrons that say, watch this, and it's for the first time. So there's times where like I'm trying to talk, but at the same time, it's like, what?
Oh, I can't do that. I can't do a commentary on a movie I've never seen before.
Yeah,
I would hate it.
Yeah, oh shit, did I talk over something important? Fuck.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I would have to watch it first and do a commentary on a second viewing at least of something.
Yeah.
I hate when people talk through movies that I've never seen before. So I couldn't. I'd be mad at myself. I'd be like, shut the fuck up.
Or the infamous, watch this. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Something's coming.
Caught me off guard with that one.
do you think I'm not watching? Here it comes. Watch this.
Yeah. That's where I get pissed off at with somebody like Holly would be on her phone. Like it's a movie I've seen before and it's coming up and I'm like, fuck you doing? Oh man.
I should start a list of movies that Emily has just fucking taken a sword to my gut with. It'd be a pretty nice list.
I saw a poll between Halloween 2018 and H2O, and someone picked H2O and a few just annihilated him, saying no self-respecting Halloween fan would choose H2O, the dumpster fire. Pisses me off. I could take a guess at what group that poll was in. Yeah, Halloween fans, some of them tend to be pretty self-righteous pricks, so it's pretty funny to me. For two movies that are basically trying to do the same exact thing, There's plenty of self-respecting Halloween fans that can prefer H2O because Halloween 2018 had no excuse. It had no excuse not to be fucking mind-blowing, and they stepped in the same piles of shit that franchise has stepped in numerous times before.
This can go two ways, but Halloween Kills could make Halloween fans 10 times more obnoxious or piss them off and win over everybody else. It's that impressive. The style that they're going for is not. If you watched Freddy versus Jason, and when Jason's mowing through the kids at the party, now make that real fucking serious and do it a couple of times. Now, tell me how you feel about that, because a lot of people like that Jason just fucking people up at the what was it, a fucking a farm? What? Remember they were drinking in Freddy vs. Jason?
Yeah, in a cornfield.
Yeah, and he's just like mowing through people, like he's on fire, for fuck's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Kills is either going to unfortunately, if you hate Halloween, it's going to reinvigorate the genre, and you could probably thank John Wick for what you're going to get from Halloween Kills.
Interesting.
I've heard.
Yeah. Sources tell me. Bill, assuming that you're not just being sarcastic and the tone doesn't come through very well, I would encourage you and the rest of your crybaby fucks that say that I shit all over the Halloween franchise to go and actually watch and listen to words that come out of my face when I'm talking about the Halloween movies. There's like, 11, 12 reviews out there. Very interesting that I can give all but, I think, 3 movies a positive review in that entire franchise, but people say that I shit on it because I don't think that it's better than sex. I don't think that it's the greatest fucking thing ever. I mean, I have worse things to say about my favorite, Nightmare on Elm Street. I have worse things to say about that than I do most the Halloween movies. So, again, assuming that you're not trolling, go fuck yourself. Let's see.
Halloween Kills is good. It's very good.
Yeah.
And, if they don't change it, it's rather good.
Okay. I hope it is. That's the funny thing about it. That's the hilarious thing, is that I think there's a certain group of dumb fucks out there that swear I want to walk out of that movie and tell you everything that's wrong with it. When, just like when I walked into Halloween 2018, I want nothing more than to walk out and say, fuck yes. Yeah. I can't wait to get in front of the camera and tell you how kick-ass this was.
Dude, it's going to make you appreciate 2018, because they literally, you could watch them back to back, and it's like literally you could stop one and it picks up right from the end and watch it as one fluid thing. But there's characters. They have characters in the movie that are actually in 2018 that don't have speaking roles, and you're like, holy, wait a minute, that's so and so, and then you go back and I'm telling you, it's going to reward rewatching 18.
And that's the slippery slope that you walk through when you basically have a 3-act story that you're going to split up into 3 movies, because some things can feel weak in the opening act, which is the first movie, that get payoff later on, and they don't really, it doesn't hit you until after you see the payoff. It's kind of like if I told you could only watch the first half hour of a movie and give me your review. You know what I mean? You might be like, well, this doesn't really feel like it's going anywhere. This doesn't really have much payoff yet. And then you watch the rest of the movie and go, oh shit. So that's interesting. That gives me hope.
Yeah, you'll get some Empire Strikes Back comparisons to this.
Oh, always. Any fucking middle chapter. They said that about Fast Five. I'm like, there's no comparison to those two movies, but that's cool.
And I don't hate Halloween. It's not the strongest franchise. I enjoyed 2018. I'm a big Jason fan. Cody, the asshole that he is, has gotten me to really enjoy Derek Mears in 2019 and just the fucking brute force that he is. There's a lot of that. I mean, the dude just fucks shit up like a lot. I've heard.
I've heard too. Oh man. All right, guys. We'll take 2 more questions and head out. That way I'm not still sitting here when Holly walks back in. Let's see here. Nobody wants to waste their money nor waste 2 hours of their time watching a shitty movie nonsense. Exactly. I would like any movie that I walk into to walk out and be like, fuck yeah. Nobody wants to walk out and be like, that was a piece of shit. I'm glad. Let's see. Kane Hodder would fuck Derek Mears up.
Yeah.
People still get so offended at my thoughts on the Kane Hodder era of Jason. I still get comments that trickle in like, this fucking guy doesn't like Kane Hodder. What a prick. Doesn't know shit.
Not even in my top 5.
Me either, I don't think.
Not even in my top 5.
So my number 1 is Derek Mears. My number 2 is Ted White. My number 3 is Richard Brooker. And my number 4 is CJ Graham. So yeah, number 5 actually would be Kane Hodder. Total respect for what he brought to the role. Like, people think I shit on like he's just useless, and I'm like, no.
I even have
he's in the 4 shittiest Friday movies almost universally. People think that. So there's big points taken away from you for that. It's not your fault, but you're in the worst movies.
You see more of Kane Hodder in 9. You actually see more of Kane Hodder in part 9 than you do him performing as Jason in
exactly.
Jason 9.
Exactly. Let's see. What is this? I was wondering whenever you get a chance if you could make me do a 50 favorite comic book films ever. And I like Kane Hodder, but he ain't top 3. I kind of put my favorite comic book movies in the action list, so I'm probably not going to do that. Not to say that I won't ever. Obviously, we get more comic book movies. I mean, there's probably going to be 50 comic book movies that are brand new in the next 5 years. So we'll see, but it won't be anytime soon. All right.
Your food's there, right?
No, not yet. Not yet. Okay. Oh, thank you, Jared. Love listening to you guys while gaming.
Shit.
Missed my super chat. What? From when? I just scrolled all the way back up.
Yeah, I don't
know, dude.
The last thing I see is, damn, if that's your thoughts on Jurassic Park, what about
Carnivore? Yeah, I don't have anything else. Okay. Come on, give us one good one to end on. Kane Hodder did fuck up Derek Mears in Hatchet 3. Yeah, but that fight was garbage. It was a sneeze. They build it up that whole fucking movie. Derek Mears plays Victor Crowley, and you have Kane Hodder plays Victor Crowley, and Derek Mears is leading like this mercenary charge against Victor Crowley, and the whole movie you're like, oh shit, new Jason and old school Jason's gonna fucking fight, and the fight's like 5 seconds long, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, what a wasted opportunity.
Plus these things are scripted, guys, so it's unless they actually fight in an MMA ring or something, it's just fan bullshit. Who would win in a fight?
All right. Looks like we're not going to get a question, so we'll just cap it off there. CP, what do we got coming out soon? Anything?
I actually received an email from the place with my camera that there's a delay. So streaming, lots of straight to straight to computer stuff. Editing. That's why I threw together that cock tease of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
For our 94. I can't. Somebody said, Brian's like, why don't you just finish 99 first and then do 94? I'm like, yeah, how about a camera? I'll do it. But I don't know. I think Patreon is basically going to decide what I'm doing for the foreseeable future. Wait. Lindsay gave me permission to thirst her chat. I'm going to go through Mother Mayhem's comments and roast really scummy things people have said. So be careful if you've commented on Mother Mayhem's stuff and mentioned her tits, her looks. I don't know. You're gonna get mocked. I said I was going to behave. Yeah, I behaved in 2020. It's all bets are off now.
Yep, exactly. I just watched Wrong Turn 3 today, so that will be a review coming out soon. Exactly. Willy's Wonderland, strong possibility, not guaranteed, but that's probably going to come this weekend too. I still have to do my off the shelves, and I have to go by my PO box because I know for a fact I have some items there people have reminded me about. I just haven't been in town. What else do I have? I'm going to be working on the top 100 movies of all time. That's not coming out till March though. And then, depending on whether or not we can work something out for Lindsay's intro, because I think that's all she's lacking. We'll have Dexter season 4 at some point here soon as well. So yeah, that's what you got to look forward to here. And if anything else pops up that we want to talk about, run through a minefield with, you'll see us back together. But for now, that is going to be it. So thank you guys again for joining us on Dead Air and mostly behaving in the chat. And we will see you guys next time. Where is it at?
Oh boy.
Here it is.